A brutal slap from my father blurred my vision entirely. The force of it made even my own apartment seem momentarily unsteady. He struck without any warning, without a single shout. He simply lifted his hand right after I said the one word he never expected to hear. No. This confrontation came after my parents had sold their primary home, purchased a property for my brother worth $850,000, and then appeared at my doorstep, seemingly intent on claiming my life too. Many might think that moment of violence shattered everything, but it was only the opening act. I am Grace Thorne. I spent the majority of my years mastering the art of quiet survival. I wasn't hiding. I simply preferred to draw less attention than those who demanded it. My brother Ethan was undeniably one of those people. He didn't just occupy a space, he dominated it. My parents adored that trait, often declaring he was destined for greatness. I, on the other hand, was reliable, steady Grace, the child who required no help. Perhaps that explains why, by age 30, my life was built on strict order and control. My condo in Indianapolis, Indy, was my sanctuary. Everything had precise edges, soft lighting, and bookshelves organized by shade and size. After hours analyzing client finances, returning to silence was a relief. Silence was logical. It never deceived me. The evening that changed everything came deep in autumn. The air held a subtle chill, carrying hints of seasonal transition and forest scent. I had just poured a mug of coffee and slipped off my shoes when the front door buzzer rang. 3 short, urgent bursts. That kind of signal always indicates a major error or crisis. I opened the door to find my parents standing there, each holding 2 pieces of luggage, looking like delayed airline travelers. My mother's eyes were watery and wide. My father's mouth was tense and rigid. "We no longer have a house," my mother murmured, pulling me into a hug that felt practiced. "Poor financial choices. We are stranded." I stepped aside. What choice do you have when your parents claim they are suddenly without a home? I found space for their bags and confirmed they could stay briefly. The long, relieved sigh my father released twisted my gut immediately. Mom busied herself in the kitchen, examining my storage as if she owned the place. "Your spice collection is insufficient," she remarked, moving items I had carefully arranged. Dad took control of the sofa, grabbed the remote, and began flipping channels as though he belonged here. "Have you consulted a lawyer?" I asked quietly. "What about the bank?" "Anyone." Mom's polite mask fell. "Darling, it's too complicated. I wanted details." My father avoided my gaze. "We are working through the details." That evasive tone was familiar. They always used it when facts were uncomfortable. Despite my doubts, I forced myself to trust them and ignore the growing anxiety as they dodged the truth. Then subtle signs began appearing. Mom put her skincare in my bathroom drawers. Dad fixed loose hardware on my kitchen cabinets, acting like a long-term resident making repairs. They repeatedly referred to my apartment as our space. Mom gave me a look and said, "It already feels so familiar here." The best thing about silence is that it amplifies any discord. Something was wrong. I sensed the real story inching closer to the edges of my apartment, ready to emerge. By the 3rd morning, the strong smell of my mother's pancakes filled the kitchen. She hummed softly, almost unnervingly, using my cookware as if reliving a childhood routine. Dad sat reading articles on his device, commenting on current events, treating the space as his habitual morning spot. I watched silently as my coffee cooled. "Have you started looking for new housing?" I asked. "Have you figured out your next steps?" Mom paused just enough to confirm my suspicions. "It's only been a short time, dear. We need breathing room." Dad focused on his phone. "You're rushing things. Slow down." They arrived with 4 pieces of luggage and no genuine explanations. I stirred my coffee. "I'm not rushing. I'm asking questions." My father finally glanced at me. A sharp, fleeting look, then away. "Forget it for now." That sudden intensity sent a chill down my spine. They weren't stressed or lost. They were deliberately stalling. Later that afternoon, I called Marcus Reed from my patio. We had known each other in college. Now a lawyer downtown, he was the person I needed to uncover my parents' misleading story. "I need you to look into something," I told him. "My parents claim they'd lost their house." Marcus sounded concerned. "Grace, are you okay?" "Not entirely. Just find out what you can." He agreed immediately. I went back inside. Mom was reorganizing my pantry again, stacking cans perfectly. Dad lounged on the sofa, shoes off, remote in hand, muttering about fixing a loose latch on my hall closet as if settling in for the long term. Dad, I said calmly, that door is fine. It needs a masculine touch, he replied. I gripped the phone tighter, unable to sleep that night, listening to the unfamiliar breathing of 2 extra people. Every instinct told me I didn't know the whole story. Marcus called the next day, and his tone revealed everything instantly. Grace, your parents did not lose their house. My heart froze. What do you mean? They sold it willingly. Sold it? Yes. A cash wire transfer of $950,000 went directly to an account linked to a property under Ethan's name. I stared at the cold metal railing of my patio. My parents had sold their house to buy my brother a $950,000 home. Silence stretched between us. Marcus continued. They suffered no loss. They made a choice. They are at your place now because they willingly gave theirs away. The truth struck hard. Of course, my golden child brother needed a boost. They had handed him their life savings, a house, nearly $1 million, then came to me with a fabricated story, expecting me to cover the void they created. I walked back in, feeling like a stranger in my own home. Mom sorted her beauty products on the island. Dad had dismantled my closet hardware. They looked completely at ease, as if this was now their residence. Grace, my mother said, smiling, you look fine. I stared, seeing the reality behind their gentle lies. They didn't need me. They expected me to be their safety net. Something inside me shifted. The confrontation had to happen. The next morning, it began with a single sharp sentence across the counter. You both must start looking for a new place. I spoke gently at first. My mother blinked. My father froze mid-action. Fiddling with the cabinet, she asked softly, What exactly do you mean? I mean you cannot stay here permanently. You chose to sell. This is not your default residence. The silence that followed was heavy, almost hostile. Mom's face tightened, and Dad's posture became rigid. We are your family, my mother whispered. Where should we go? You are making a drama out of this, Dad added. No, I said firmly. I am setting a boundary. Dad turned fully toward me, screwdriver still in hand. We gave my brother a home because he needed it. You are successful. You have always managed fine. There it was. My strength was merely an excuse for them to exploit me. You lied. You claimed ruin. You gave everything to Ethan. You cannot stay. My mother's eyes filled with tears. A typical tactic. Grace, honey. But the guilt was gone this time. Dad stood slowly. We are not going anywhere. You are leaving. I countered. Today. Tonight. The room thickened with tension. Dad stepped closer. Repeat that, he said. No, I stated simply. You need to leave. Then he reacted. No argument, just a quick, heavy strike across my cheek. My vision flashed. My face burned. He froze, surprised by himself. My mother gasped but didn't move. Clarity struck immediately. If I failed to stop this now, it would escalate. I straightened, touching my cheek. Get out of my house. Don't speak to me like that. His voice was low. I didn't answer. I grabbed my phone and dialed the police. Grace, Mom pleaded. Stop this. He hit me, I said, staring at Dad. In my own home. When the dispatcher answered, my voice was steady. Yes, I need officers at my address. 2 people are refusing to leave. Dad's jaw twitched, but he didn't advance. Mom began crying loudly, a desperate sound that seemed like an attempt to blame me. Mr. Jenkins, my neighbor, looked in. Is everything okay? No, I said, but it will be. The officer's presence shifted the atmosphere instantly. Dad tried to argue, but he had no legal standing. Mom begged, claiming victimhood. The officers looked at me. Do you want them removed? Yes, I confirmed. I do. Minutes later, they were collecting their luggage, the bags brought with lies. As law enforcement escorted them out, something settled inside me. This was not a defeat. It was my true beginning. The night my parents were removed from my condo did not mark an end. It only moved the fight to a new arena. For the next few days, the silence in my home felt restorative, safer. Yet beneath the calm, A quiet understanding buzzed. The choices made by my parents and my brother Ethan were starting to unravel. 3 days after the eviction, I received the first call. It was Sierra, Ethan's girlfriend. Her voice was tight, almost frantic. "Grace, are your parents staying with you?" "No," I replied. A shaky breath followed. "He can't do this. He can't just shut everything down." "Sierra, what exactly is happening?" Before she could answer, the connection dropped. I heard nothing more for 2 weeks. Then my grandmother Beatrice called. Her voice was firm, but I sensed trouble beneath it. "You need to visit," she instructed. "It's time you found out what's going on." When I arrived, she led me into her kitchen. Sunlight streamed across the wooden table. Rolled-up newspapers lay beside her coffee cup. "Your parents have been staying here," she revealed. "With you. They showed up the night I called the police." "They said they needed a place to think," Beatrice said. I let out a sharp breath. "And what have they been doing?" Beatrice pressed her lips into a thin line, thinking. "No, they've been arguing, among themselves, with Ethan, and with each other. They are breaking down, Grace." I sank into a chair. "Why?" She slid one of the newspapers toward me. The main headline clenched my stomach. "Area man faces foreclosure after failed startup." Ethan's name wasn't printed explicitly, but the details were unmistakable. The property value, the location, the timeline, it all matched. "He took out a mortgage on the house," Beatrice said quietly. "The one your parents purchased for him." I felt the air tighten around me. "A mortgage? How large?" "Nearly the entire amount," I gasped. "And the investment failed," she confirmed. "Lost within a single month. Fast, reckless decisions all around." Of course, Ethan, despite his charm and confidence, had wagered their entire life savings on a business idea he barely understood. Beatrice reached across the table. "Your parents truly believed they were helping him. They never imagined the depth of his failure. They are facing the consequences now." I swallowed hard. "What is it they want from me?" "You," she answered. "You are the only stable one left. They want you to fix this." Her words hit harder than they should have. That had always been my role. I had been their safety net since I turned 18. They expected me to catch them again, no matter how badly they had hurt me first. Before I could respond, a car door shut outside. Beatrice looked toward the window. That would be them. My mother entered first, her eyes red, her posture stiff. Dad followed, his shoulders slumped, a different man from the one who struck me weeks before. Then Ethan came in, pale, exhausted, defeated. The three of them stood at the entrance, a portrait of collapse. Beatrice cleared her throat. "Sit down." We all obeyed. My mother's voice shook. "Grace, we didn't come here to start a fight." Dad stared at the table's surface. "We want to explain." Ethan avoided my gaze completely. I folded my hands. "Then start explaining." Mom began. "We sold the house because Ethan's startup needed funding. We thought the house we bought him was an investment into his future." "An investment you didn't even mention to me," I countered. Dad flinched. "We didn't think you would understand." That sentence stung. I'd heard it my entire life. "Or didn't think I mattered," I added softly. Dad opened his mouth, then closed it again. Mom wiped her eyes. Ethan finally spoke. "I screwed up," he whispered. "I genuinely believed I had a good concept. I thought I could turn it into something that would make you proud." "At what cost?" I asked. He remained silent. He didn't need to answer. The foreclosure filing, the massive mortgage, the failed investments, it all spoke for itself. Dad leaned forward. "We understand we hurt you badly. What happened at your condo should never have occurred." I held his gaze. "You hit me." His face registered the pain. "I know I did." The words came out roughly. I was furious, ashamed, and losing everything. It made me act like someone I am not. Mom reached for my hand, then hesitated. "We didn't come here demanding you fix anything. We came because Beatrice told us the truth." "What truth?" "That you do not owe us your home," she said quietly. "Or your life. Or your forgiveness." The room became silent. Even the house seemed to pause. Beatrice then spoke calmly but firmly. "Family members can make serious mistakes, but recovery doesn't begin with fixing finances. It begins with acknowledging the damage that has been done." Ethan nodded, tears falling. "I am trying. I am actively looking for work. I will repay what I can. Mom whispered, "We want to repair things, Grace. But we will do it without destroying you again." Dad swallowed hard. "If you allow us, we want to earn your forgiveness, not demand it from you." The anger I carried started to loosen. It wasn't gone or forgotten, but it eased enough for me to breathe freely. "I cannot fix the choices you made," I stated, "and I refuse to carry them anymore, but I am willing to talk." Slowly and genuinely, my mother broke down into sobs. Not manipulative or desperate this time, but truly relieved. Dad gave a deep, approving nod. Ethan finally looked up, gratitude visible on his exhausted face. Beatrice offered a gentle smile. "Good. Then this is the true start," she said. It was not the beginning of forgetting, but the start of recognizing how much we each needed to rebuild, first individually, and perhaps someday together. In the weeks that followed, everything moved slowly, as is typical for real healing. My parents remained at my grandmother's house. They were no longer seeking rescue as victims. They were people learning to live with the consequences of their own actions. My grandmother did not coddle them. She guided them with firm words, soft reminders, and the honesty they had long avoided. My brother secured a job. Humble and consistent, it was nothing like the grand ambitions he once bragged about. But he showed up every day. He called me once a week. He never asked for help. He simply provided updates and apologized again in small, heartfelt ways. As for me, my condo felt renewed, lighter, more stable. I installed a new lock and rearranged some items, not out of fear, but as an act of reclaiming my space. Marcus checked in often, reminding me that boundaries are not walls, they are doors I control. One quiet Saturday, I drove to visit my grandmother. My parents were outside, working side by side, raking fallen leaves. They looked up when they saw me. They did not appear demanding or guilty, just hopeful. For the first time, I felt something beyond anger. I felt possibility. We are not a perfect family now. Perhaps we never were. But we are finally an honest one. I realized that forgiveness doesn't mean erasing the past. It means choosing not to carry someone else's failures on your back. My home is entirely mine once more. My peace belongs to me again, and to the future we are constructing, one careful step at a time. If any part of my story resonates with you, share your own experience in the comments and subscribe for more stories like mine. Or your forgiveness. The room became silent. Even the house seemed to pause. Beatrice then spoke calmly but firmly. Family members can make serious mistakes, but recovery doesn't begin with fixing finances. It begins with acknowledging the damage that has been done. Ethan nodded, tears falling. "I am trying. I am actively looking for work. I will repay what I can." Mom whispered, "We want to repair things, Grace. But we will do it without destroying you again." Dad swallowed hard. "If you allow us, we want to earn your forgiveness, not demand it from you." The anger I carried started to loosen. It wasn't gone or forgotten, but it eased enough for me to breathe freely. "I cannot fix the choices you made," I stated, "and I refuse to carry them anymore, but I am willing to talk." Slowly and genuinely, my mother broke down into sobs. Not manipulative or desperate this time, but truly relieved. Dad gave a deep, approving nod. Ethan finally looked up, gratitude visible on his exhausted face. Beatrice offered a gentle smile. "Good. Then this is the true start," she said. It was not the beginning of forgetting, but the start of recognizing how much we each needed to rebuild, first individually, and perhaps someday together. In the weeks that followed, everything moved slowly, as is typical for real healing. My parents remained at my grandmother's house. They were no longer seeking rescue as victims. They were people learning to live with the consequences of their own actions. My grandmother did not coddle them. She guided them with firm words, soft reminders, and the honesty they had long avoided. My brother secured a job. Humble and consistent, it was nothing like the grand ambitions he once bragged about. But he showed up every day. He called me once a week. He never asked for help. He simply provided updates and apologized again in small, heartfelt ways. As for me, my condo felt renewed, lighter, more stable. I installed a new lock and rearranged some items, not out of fear, but as an act of reclaiming my space. Marcus checked in often, reminding me that boundaries are not walls, they are doors I control. One quiet Saturday, I drove to visit my grandmother. My parents were outside, working side by side, raking fallen leaves. They looked up when they saw me. They did not appear demanding or guilty, just hopeful. For the first time, I felt something beyond anger. I felt possibility. We are not a perfect family now. Perhaps we never were. But we are finally an honest one. I realized that forgiveness doesn't mean erasing the past. It means choosing not to carry someone else's failures on your back. My home is entirely mine once more. My peace belongs to me again, and to the future we are constructing, one careful step at a time. If any part of my story resonates with you, share your own experience in the comments and subscribe for more stories like mine.